Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years.
But I'm so excited about what's coming up week after next. Well, next week is our wonderful Reverend Dr. Eileen, and she's speaking about 3 signs of enduring a storm, which is very, very interesting. And our friend Marissa is going to be doing a poem also next week, which really ties in with that also. So I'm excited that she's going to be doing that. But August 7th, the other side of despair. Instead of our regular church service, we are having a group is going to do the read-through for a play. And it is, and so I'd like for you to read that because it's Sophia Gilbert's The Other Side of Despair. Transgender issues between self, family, and society are explored in an emotional, entertaining way you do not want to miss.
It is so good. I've read it.
And this is for the Zoom people. I'm reading this because it says, a chance meeting with her evangelical sister in a cemetery sends Sabrina on an emotional journey through her own past. She battles depression and suicidal thoughts, revisiting a variety of transphobic demons with familiar faces. Ultimately, Sabrina searches through darkness to find what might be waiting on the other side of despair. Sounds like an amazing play that they're going to read. As many of you know, if you're in the theater at all, you always have a read-through before you start really putting it on as acting as a play. But the first is the read-through, and that's what's coming up. So talk to friends of yours. A lot of people say, well, what's this about transgender? I don't understand this, da, da, da. I think this is something that would give people another look and another side of what is happening to people who decide to be transgender. So please, we're kind of rooting for this play, and that's why we're putting it on Sunday. Okay, and I talked to Flo Galvez, who is the director, and many of you know Flo, and he is so excited about this that he wanted to make sure we all knew about it a bit before you come in on that Sunday, okay?
And what's the location?
Here.
Oh,
It's going to be a Sunday service. It's going to be here. And we'll just start out with a little bit of an introduction and a little bit about who we are, and they're going to take over the floor to do that. So it's pretty exciting. The other thing that's been happening is our UCM conference is coming up on the 10th of September, and we're looking for donations for things for people for the silent auction. And if you have a certain place where you go for dinner or breakfast, you might say, hey, would you like to give a gift certificate for a free meal or something like that? We're trying to pick up a lot of things that people can just go and buy and then go get something. They're going to bid on it for the auction. But also, a woman gifted us yesterday 50 pieces of various Egyptian statues. I mean, wow. And we have Nefertiti, we have Ramses, we have Isis, we have so many, and they're going to be going into the auction too because they're all brand new and great. Plus, massage pillows and massage things for your back, and I mean, everything you could think of to help a spa. Things that she donated, and they're all brand new. I mean, they're brand new box. One is a thing you put in your bathtub, and it makes your bathtub into a spa. And it's just an amazing thing. So please, and one of the things about the UCM conference, it's open to the public. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be held over at the UCC, United Church of Christ, over on
Campbell
Avenue. Thank you.
Right near Winchester.
Right, yep. Right near Winchester. So we'll be talking a lot more about that. Okay, yes, Annie.
So usually, like when I had gone to places in the past to get donations from, say, a restaurant or something.
Would you stand up and so people can hear it?
I had a little note that had your the
501c3.
Yeah, 501c3 registration number, because, so if you ask and they ask for something, make sure you get in touch with Dottie or Corky or somebody to get hold of that, or get some kind of a letter or something that you can.
Sure.
You
Or
know,
you
put in,
can
so,
tell us
yeah.
where you went, and we'll send them a letter.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Anne, for bringing that up.
That's a very good
We
point.
do appreciate it. Okay, so you have lots of interesting things coming up. Also, you're all going to be invited to my birthday party, which is August 27th. It's in a little town called Corralitos. It's where my sister lives. She's got a nice garden and loads and loads of sitting, so you're not in a room with a lot of people close to them. And we've got a band that's going to be playing, and that's our friend Elaine.
Oh.
And so you remember the sock hops?
The sock hop.
Yeah, and the stingrays, and they're going to be playing. So we've got music, and we're also going to be having artwork that we're going to be doing. So it's going to be a beautiful afternoon on August 27th, and it's going to be more and more information coming out as we go along. Okay, so thank you so very much. Hello there, welcome, welcome.
Dottie, is it gonna be a potluck?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No. We'll probably, what?
Saturday, the 27th.
Saturday, the 27th of August. No, because it's over the hill, I don't want people to have to make food and carry it over there. We'll probably have something outrageously elegant, like tacos, so.
Tacos
Yay,
sound
my
great.
favorite.
We vote for tacos.
Tacos. Okay, I want to thank you all very much for being here. If this is your first time, I'm the Reverend Dottie Boone, and this is the Center for Creative Living. And we are going to do a meditation, so if you've got something on your lap, just put it on the floor, get comfortable, and just sit down, take a nice deep breath. And when you're ready, just close your eyes. Dear Mother, Father God, we are here today to find out ways that we can help others. And we know that before we can help others, we need to feel comfortable within ourselves. So as you take a nice deep breath, feel the energy of Mother Earth coming up through your feet, all the way through your knees, all the way through your torso, and all the way up to the top of your head. A connection to Mother Earth. And when you go all the way up to your head, just keep going, 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 until you're connected to the Creator. Each one of you is a child of the Creator. And as you look around you, become this wonderful, soft blanket of love. If you meet somebody going through a difficult time, talk to them about peace and love, but just visualize yourself protecting them from the storm with a nice soft blanket. You can do that with everyone, and as you project a nice soft blanket, make it a color that feels comfortable to you. It could be white, pink, gray, but a soothing color of energy that you protect. And you'll see this blanket covering people with anger, frustration, distrust for everyone, despair. So much of that is going on these days, and we want you to know that you can help yourself, your family, your neighbors, your town, by viewing this wonderful blanket of love, covering and protecting. Now take another deep breath as we listen to the wonderful Reverend Dr. Jeanne Lyons.
I open my
body to this blanket of love. Let it fill every sill. Let me know that I am ever connected to the source, to the light, to what brings me home, to the essence of my strength that I can share with the world. This blanket of love fills my heart. This blanket of love wraps around my soul. I know I am one person on the earth, but I know we can bring each other to this rebirth, bringing it home, calling it forth. We are all one, holding true to the source that brings us home. I am the power of the light. We are the vision, and we can take flight. And all we know and all we hold is captured in this blanket of love. So spread your blanket on your shoulders. We can feel the healing from each moment we are holding each other near. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let the light flow.
And just take another deep breath. And come back to the room. Thank you so much, Jan. That was wonderful. I'm always fascinated about how I just start talking and she picks up her guitar and plays something accordingly. But to me, it's a miracle. I don't know how she does that, and I'm so amazed that she does. Thank you so very much. Now, do we happen to have any birthdays this week? Oh my gosh. You know, sometimes there's weeks that we don't, and sometimes we do. Look out when Virgos start coming in.
I was gonna say,
Virgo connection.
Yeah, we got a lot of Virgos in this community. Don't know how they all happened to grab us, but we're so glad they did. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to mention today is every one of you has the ability to dampen, like we talked with the blanket. If somebody starts talking about politics or religion or anything that you completely disagree, you're telling them they're wrong does not make them right. Okay? Think about that. Please stop your arguing. Even when you get discussing something, you'll say, oh, I wasn't arguing, I was just telling them how they weren't right. And so please, because every time you do that, you put more negativity into the space that we call Earth here. And we know that we've got enough negativity. So when you hear somebody say something you don't agree with, bless them. Just think to yourself, I bless you, and I release you, and let you go. Because you're doing something that makes them feel wrong. Doesn't help. And I know that everybody says, but I have an opinion. I know you do, and I love you for your opinion, whatever it may be. But know that that is your opinion, not necessarily opinion of everybody else. So just be very gentle with yourself, okay? Now, I am so excited to hear this next person speak, because we have not heard Jeanne speak before, and she's going to be speaking about 7 decades of a spiritual journey. And everybody should have a handout. If you don't, raise your hand, and Annie will bring you one.
Well, I put them all out.
Well, here, you can take mine.
Well, there's, I have enough for it.
There's a couple on empty chairs right
I
there.
just need this one.
Okay, anybody not have a handout?
I need a pencil.
You need a pencil?
I can give her one.
Got one?
Okay, we got pencils taken care of, we got papers taken care of. I think we're set. So, are you ready to welcome Jeanne Lyons? It takes me just a minute to do this, so you are all alone in the Zoom. And welcome to the Zoom people.
Welcome to the Zoom people.
It almost sounds like she's saying, welcome to the zoo, doesn't it?
That's kind of a trick.
I like that too.
Okay, do that.
It could be that, right?
Who do you think you are?
And before you start, see the clock?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've got right across till 9. Beautiful.
So let me ask you again, who do you think you are? Or, as I've often been asked, who do you think you are? So does anybody feel like there's been a theme here lately? Well, I'm here to tell you that yes, indeed there is, and if you haven't seen it yet, hopefully you will by the end of this talk. Well, after 7 decades, I am an omnist. Now, some of you may not know what that is, and I'll tell you more about that later. And my early exposure to church, well, I was baptized when I was around 2 or 3. And I don't even remember if it was Presbyterian or Episcopalian. My mother and her sister thought it might be a good idea, so that's what we did. And then we were living near a Methodist church that the neighbors happened to go to. So they invited my mother, who was a Russian Orthodox. Now, this is back during the Cold War. So no one wanted to admit that they were Russian anything. And we couldn't even find, excuse me, a place there. So we went, and going to church was fun. My dad was a Great Lakes sailor, and so he wasn't often home. He was on the lakes, and we seldom went as an entire family. Well, my dad was the kind of guy that my mother had to sit and separate the children from my father. Instead of, you know how parents separate their children so they don't fight? Well, my mother had to separate my father from us because he made up his own words to the hymns. And that would get us giggling. So in Sunday school, I was the fastest Bible passage looker-upper there was. Not because I knew so much about the Bible, but because I am competitive. So my mother was asked to be a Sunday school teacher, and she accepted, and then rapidly turned her responsibilities over to me. And I loved it. Oh my gosh. I got to sit at the head of the class and be bossy. I am bossy. So increasing school activities came. I was in the band, the choir, Future Teachers of America, the ski club. I joined everything. Because one thing, I wanted my picture in the yearbook very many times. So I am a joiner. And as my responsibilities grew and I was working part-time in the local pharmacy, I pushed aside going to church because I needed to sleep in on Sunday mornings. Yeah. Then I went off to college, and after my freshman year in a Catholic girls' school, I married a Catholic boy. And his mother was raised in a convent, so it was really important for her to have a priest included in the wedding ceremony. Well, for the first time in the diocese, a Catholic priest came to the Methodist Church to perform the ceremony. It may have been the last time that ever happened. So now I can say I'm a trailblazer.
Yeah.
I always identified as Protestant, and I would go with my mother-in-law when she wanted to go to church to keep her company. And I remember sitting in a service one time, and the priest was blessing the sick, the poor, the soldiers in Vietnam. And then he said at the very end, and our Protestant friends also. What? I wasn't included in all that other stuff? I am insulted. So my husband always liked new experiences. And one of my friends from college said, why don't you come to church with us? And we said, oh, okay, that would be cool. And so we went, and after a couple of weeks, the pastor came to visit to have us join the church. And I said, we're just exploring. My husband's Catholic. So he told us a story about how he was raised Catholic. And then he saw the light. Well, now I'm dismayed. And we never went back to that church. We never went to any church. And I just went blithely along on my journey. And the next spiritual opportunity I had was when I observed my first post-mortem or autopsy. Now, I'm scientifically trained. I almost had a triple major in college, biology, chemistry, and what's the other one?
Physics?
So I went in, and of course I was worried about not embarrassing myself, right? I didn't want to pass out. I didn't want to throw up. I was the first one in the group to observe. And I'm in the room, and I'm looking at the envelope that was Mr. X. And I couldn't help but think, just an hour or two before, he could think, he could feel. There had to be something more that made him a human being. So I didn't embarrass myself, thank goodness. But I was fascinated watching the whole process of the opening of this envelope that we are as a person. And I'm a scientist. So, and I was astounded by knowing that there is something more to us than what we see here. And then I'm 22 years old, so I put that experience aside. It was much more fun going out and partying with my friends. And the next experience I had was when my fiance Joe died. And that was truly life-changing. I was so desperate to know that there was more, that there was a soul, that something carried on, and he wasn't lost to me forever. So at his memorial, I met his Aunt Bettina, and she told me about Dr. Brian Weiss, who wrote the book Many Lives, Many Masters. This book did change my life. I devoured it. And the thing that resonated with me is that Brian Weiss is also a scientist. Right. And he was able to overcome his own skepticism about past lives. So now I am intrigued. So much so that I picked up the phone and I called his office. And I asked, does Dr. Weiss train people? At that time, they told me he only did it for professionals. So then my next call was to a hypnotherapy school. And I took 6 courses and became a clinical hypnotherapist. And 1 year after I called his office, I flew to Florida and took his training. So what I learned is I am a healer. When I was a Native American, I learned I have strong beliefs that I was persecuted for. And I learned that I had died in Joe's arms as he had died in mine. Wow. It was such a powerful experience that I included in my practice to help people find out and get to who they are. So I would go along thinking that everything was fine. And then my daughter came home crying one day after she went to Sunday school with the babysitter's family. And I said, what's the matter? Daddy's going to hell. Oh, you're probably right, but but why? Because he's a Jew. Oh. I am outraged. So I've received many well-meaning invitations. And when I would dig deeper, there were tenets I just could not buy into. Things like, you can't dance.
What?
You can't wear jewelry.
What?
You can't be gay.
What?
And you can't eat bacon.
Oh, no.
Deal breaker.
Yeah, okay.
That's a deal breaker.
I'm out the door.
I'm confused. So I went to coffee with a longtime friend. We've never been deep personal friends. We've been good casual friends, but we hadn't seen each other in years. And I don't know why this topic came up. It did. And I said, I just can't find anything that fits. And she told me about a friend of hers that's an omnist. So I thought, oh, I've got to learn more about this. And I'm going to read this to you, because omnism, in its simplistic terms, is a belief in all religions. And those who hold this view are referred to as omnists. Omnist believes that every religion serves to provide pieces of information in the great puzzle of existence as a whole. For the most part, omnism does not imply literal acceptance of every single religious claim. Rather, omnists generally perceive some level of truth or specific truth in all religious faiths. I am an omnist.
How do you spell that?
OMNIST.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And because I'm bossy, I get to pick and choose what I want. Once I found out who I was, I felt liberated. I had a name to what I was. Now, to some people, labels don't matter. To me, I like to identify with it. I like to have, an identity. And then my good friend Joan invited me to come to church with her. And Joan and I have been friends for a brief time, actually, but we've gone pretty deep. And there was something about her that I just trusted. So I came, and here I am.
Yay!
Bravo. Now, when I walked in and sat down, I looked at this altar cloth, and I saw all those symbols, and I thought, what a perfect place for an omnist to be.
That's right.
That's it.
So, one of the things that I would like to tell you, a lesson that I learned from American Idol and Lionel Richie,
All right.
is Lionel Richie, he's famous, right? He's got so many awards and parts to himself, and yet every morning he said that he gets up and he looks in the mirror and he said, I am Lionel Richie. Wow. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so powerful that I actually set an alarm on my phone so that every morning at 9:15 it goes off, and I look in the mirror and I go, I am Jeanne Lyons. So I invite you, once we start a little exercise, to do the same thing. Who we are changes over time. And that's the thing I like to say about growing older, is that I'm becoming more seasoned. And more seasoning is always good.
Yes.
So here's what I'd like to leave you today before we go into our little exercise. When you stop searching, it can find you. It took me more than 70 years to say, I am an omnist. Be courageous enough to say goodbye to the identity that no longer serves you. You can't really know others until you know yourself. And keep defining your I am. So I'm going to ask you again. Who do you think you are?
Lionel Richie. Because you sing so beautifully. She opened herself up for that.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to ask, when you were talking about you looked into a religion that said you couldn't dance and you can't be gay and can't eat bacon, were you talking Judaism?
No.
No, it's not the only one.
Because Judaism, I know, I have a lot of people in my family that are gay and Jewish, and, can't eat bacon, okay, if you stay kosher, that's another story, but, yeah, I just was curious, because I know we dance as well, so I went, wait a minute, am I just not identifying correctly? It's my background, it's not who I am, but it's my background.
No, the bacon, yes, Judaism, but also Seventh-day Advent.
Okay, thank you. I somehow missed.
Assembly of God.
Yeah.
Assembly of God.
I knew there were religions where you can't dance,
Jehovah's
but,
Witness,
yeah.
Muslims.
they all have a lot of rules
Yeah.
excluding fun.
True. Thank you. I just wanted that clarification.
That was good.
That's where we fit in.
Okay, so on your seats you found a handout. And let's just work on the very first one. And this I am is not Christological, okay? This is just...
Did somebody else need one? Yeah,
There's
We have
two
a
right
few
here.
here.
you got some over there, okay? Just make sure everybody has one? Okay.
So what I'd like you to do is start the first line, and you know, as you go on with this, we don't have enough time to go through it all today, but take it home, continue to work on it, and turn it into your I am home. So I'm going to give you a moment to think about the first I am.
So Jeannie, are you talking about I am two special characteristics?
Yes, the very first I am there.
Like, I am fun and
Whatever comes to you.
Sexy.
Oh!
I am.
Yeah, for my first and last. That's not about your name.
Not about your
No.
name.
But that's coming up. I'm going to be talking about reclaiming your name in August.
Oh!
That's very intuitive.
See, we do have a theme going here, don't
See,
we?
I am adventurous. So you want to pick out a characteristic.
Right.
And one of my friends named me Spunky Jones.
Well, that sounds like a song. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, who else? So Joan shared, who else wants to share their first I am, their first two characteristics that they've written for us?
I will. I am lovable and kind.
Wonderful.
So you see how this goes? Okay, because I invite you to take this home and definitely finish it. And then you can say, I feel. And continue to go along and fill in the sheet. And then when you're finished, read it to yourself as a poem. And maybe do it in the mirror like Lionel Richie.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. Oh my God. Yes.
That was interesting.
Well, we all learned a new word on this. I think that is fantastic.
Because I always said that if people ask me my religion, I say oneness.
Right.
Believing in everybody and everything, and God is all and whatever. So honest is cool because I also felt that I was always on a spiritual journey, and I've always taken truth from different religious paths. So I guess that's the same thing.
Well, let me, and I didn't see it in my notes, but one of the most controversial things, and I wanted to spark debate, is it's my feeling that religion is more the enemy of God than any war. And that's why I love this altar.
That's what we say, Dogma.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I think that mankind tries to think for God.
Yes.
And that's when we get into trouble.
Right.
If we just appreciate the Creator, God, Jehovah, Mother, whatever name you have, works. You don't have to change how you feel about that energy. You have a name in your heart, and that's what you say. I met a gentleman and I said, and what do you call God? And he said, Paul.
Wow. Paul's a good name.
Paul's a good name, you know, okay, that works, because he was saying that he had a different, relationship with God. And because his mother had always said, Paul says, which was some ancestor of hers, and so he thought, as a little one, that was God. And so, think about that. How do you see God? How do you hear God? And there's so many different ways. Whether you say the divine or spirit, what works for you is the most important thing. And just exactly when you were talking about anonymous, what I feel and what you said about that is they pick out the best in all religions. They don't pick out the worst. And so many people tend to say, well, they don't do this and they don't do that, but there's probably some goodness in each religion. And look for the good. Don't keep looking for the bad. For all of you who know me, know that I was raised in so many different religions. At each one of them, I always looked for the good. And there always was some. And so you just think of that. What is the good? If you have somebody come knocking on your door and they say, I want to tell you the good news, or I'm a Mormon missionary, or whatever, take a moment to listen to them and say, what's the good about your religion? I want to know it. And listen, you learn. And that's what my father did. We always had somebody in our house that came to tell us something because they either drove their car, rode their bicycle, or walked to tell us something different. And he never said they're bad or laughed at them or said anything, just, I learned something new today. So when you think about that, what is it new that you have learned today? You learned a new word, honest. Keep looking for the new words about the positives in religion, and it really works. Okay, yes.
So our Zoom people, Songbird said, that was beautiful, Janet. You have an amazing ability to channel that love and light in song. Patty and Joyce said, beautiful prayer, Dottie, and beautiful song, Janet. Thank you so much. Glenn and Jeanne Lyons say it's a very enlightened zoo. And I said, yes, thank you so much. Yes, it is. Thank you so much for noticing. And then Patty and Joyce said, great talk. Thank you. Glenn and Jeanne Lyons said, thank you for the lovely message.
Okay, people we have there are from SoCal, Santa Rosa. I mean, they're from all over that zoom in to be able to hear this. We want to thank them all so very much for
and Laura's on here too, so.
Okay.
Hi, Laura.
Hello, Laura. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, when I was talking earlier about birthdays.
And there's one, I love you, Mama Bloom.
It's one of my many kids. So for everybody today, you are now a disciple of Almost. You can go out and start listening with an open ear and an open mind when people are talking about whatever faith or whatever religion they are. We are going to collect a donation, and if today your pockets are a little bit empty, just bless the basket, okay? And anybody else could help Eileen? Eileen, could you help? Here we go.
And Alice, who's back from Spain.
She's here from Madrid. Thank you so much. Okay. I know, it's heavy.
We are giving to the world. We are giving to ourselves. We are giving to the universe. Our gift of love. Our gift of love. We are giving to
much, Jan. The sacrament of giving, please look at it. Giving to the ministry from which I receive my spiritual support and nurturing is an affirmation and consciousness of the truth that spirit is the prospering power enriching every area of our lives. Thank you so much.
So it is.
And so it is. And now, our Reverend Ann is going to be doing our closing prayer. And I will move on to your prayer.
Well, okay.
Okay, here we go. And don't go away as soon as church is over. We have food that has been donated to us. Please take it. There's a little blue bag. You can take food. Also, we have a lot of different things that people are interested in. So stick around and meet somebody new. And don't be surprised if you haven't been here before, somebody doesn't walk up and grab you and say, hi, who are you? Okay. So if you don't like talking, you can just sign. It's fine. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna sign up. Give him the peace sign. Give him the peace sign. Wow. Well, this was really interesting because, like I said, I've always told people I believe in oneness. And I believe that I was describing the same thing that you were talking about with oneness. And I used to laughingly say that I was a spiritual junkie because I like to take like all types of paths, Native American, goddess, all of that, and I take the truth from, or what I find, what rings true to me. And that's how I created who I am as a spiritual being. So thank you very much for that, Jeanne. That was wonderful comment. Oh, okay. You okay, Donnie?
Oh, I just threw my arm out. I'm fine.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
All right. Let's close our eyes and take a nice deep breath in. Breathing in love, light, joy, energy, all the good things in life. Hold on to that. Just feel that wonderful feeling of how your spirit expands. And then I want you to take a second, just breathe out, with a sigh, anything that is not feeling the best for you right now. And, let's also breathe in healing energy, and let's breathe it out and send it to our Dottie right now. Mother, Father, God, dearest Creator, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for our lives, and we thank you for this opportunity to recognize that truly, truly we are all one. Because, Creator, for those who actually do take the good from all religious paths, what you'll find is one thing in common, and that is who you are, Creator. That is love. We are love, love incarnate. Do we always feel that way? Not necessarily, because sometimes we have a bad day. But somehow we always turn back to that love. Somehow we always know, Creator, that you have our back, that you have our energy, and you're enfolding us with that love all the time to help us heal. Whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you have us, Creator. You've got us. And for us, we just have to remember that that is there for us. So as we go out each and every day, and especially today, and as we leave this, this service, we look into each person's eyes and we see you, Creator. We see your loving energy, and we reflect it back because you know what? Inside of us and through us and around us is your loving energy. And so as we look at somebody in their eyes, we are looking at you, and they are looking at us and looking at Creator. So it's Creator to Creator. Love to love, peace to peace, healing to healing, loving to loving. And if we can use that energy every day of our lives, whether it's just smiling at a stranger in a store, or doing your regular work as on your regular job, or whatever it may be, if our attitudes, Creator, can be that of the loving energy that you are, we are creating peace in this world. We're creating strength. We're creating energy. And we are so thankful and so grateful for this opportunity to be that and to share that. So as we go forward today and every moment after today, after this moment, we say thank you, Thank you. Thank you. Blessed be, so it is, and amen.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
If you notice me grimacing, I have a shoulder that every once in a while gets dislocated, and we haven't quite figured out how. So I go into this motion, and Corky immediately knows, uh-oh, her shoulder's out of place, and runs up here and puts it back in.
As long as you're not grimacing at my prayer, we're fine. So as long as you're not grimacing at my prayer, we're fine.
So, it's one of those things, I'm sure everybody here has some part of their anatomy at times, whether it's a toothache or a headache or something that doesn't feel quite right. And I hope all of you are lucky enough to have somebody around that can hand you a Tylenol or pop things back into place or something. It really helps when you have somebody that can help you with that. It feels good. I'm so glad that Chris and her wonderful Rebecca are back in the hall today. Thank you so much. And for all the new faces, thank you so very much. And I want to thank you for Miss Madrid here in the back. And we have so many beautiful faces. Amana, we missed you, and it's nice to meet you. These are people, I want you please to take a moment and meet at least one or two new people, because that's the way you can spread the energy that you have. And we know each one of you has loving energy. So please, as we close the service today, just take a moment to get a cup of coffee, get some goodies off the table, and say howdy to somebody that maybe you haven't talked to before. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.